Let's start with the first one, social. Social contains many different risks for different businesses, and we've always got to understand the effect of environmental risk on not just the business itself, but also its suppliers and buyers. And within the categories to look at under social, I would say that the buyer element is very, very important, because at the end of the day, the buyer of a business's product or service is its key to success. So we're looking at perhaps demographics. The demographics of a country, both age, gender, and perhaps religion, will affect different businesses in different ways. So demography will drive future buyers, as indeed will fashion. Some products come in and out of fashion because of the nature of the business that they are producing. And then employment levels. If employment levels rise, there are obviously more people with money to spend. If employment levels fall, there are less people with money to spend. Political risk. First thing to say about political risk is that the year before an election in every country and the 6 months after usually is turmoil. So a lot of businesses will lose sales in those years, purely and simply because that's the way economies evolve. People don't invest, people don't spend, they spend to live, rather than living to spend, as the expression goes. But key areas we need to understand there involve tariffs, which can push up costs. That could be government pushing the tariff in the country that you're in, or it could be tariffs that have been put on by the supplier's country. Quotas and taxes will always have an effect on a business. We have things like the AGOA agreements that the Americans have with many countries around the world. That is removed, as happened in Rwanda, for textiles, then the business has problems. So quotas can be very important to understand. Economic risk. Now, we live in economies. It's a simple equation. If interest rates go up, people have less money to spend, and the cost of running a business that's borrowing increases. If interest rates fall, it's the inverse. If exchange rates increase, so it costs more to buy imported products, then the cost of product goes up, and vice versa. Inflation very often is out of the hands of a local government, in the sense because we are a global economy today, inflation can be brought in through fuel prices, food price inflation, many different ways. So economic risk is extremely important to understand, and changes in any of the items there will obviously have an effect on the future of the business. China, India, Russia, Brazil, and Arabia. In other words, any foreign country that affects the industry that we're looking at in their ability to repay if they're borrowing money, but also in the ability of them to acquire goods and also maybe selling to those countries. Let's give an example. Chinese products are allegedly much cheaper, but is the quality standard as other parts of the world? We have challenges sometimes with Indian products in the pharmaceutical industry. The quality issues come into play, but the price is cheaper on occasions. So when we're looking at the group of foreign countries, we're looking at how they will affect either as suppliers or buyers. Indeed, Brexit will have had a situational effect on a lot of exporters to the UK. Technological risk. And technology has become part of business today. A lot of things that we do technologically could reduce costs. one of the major international producers of lorries, trucks, has been able to reduce the fuel consumption by 10%. That is a big reduction. So the overall effect on the profitability of somebody running that lorry will be a 5% reduction in their costs. In other words, a 5% increase in their profitability. Speed of change of technology can affect various businesses. Anybody who sells products that are technologically orientated faces the problem of change. The stock that they have at the moment will no longer be good in the future because technology changes rapidly. Authority risk. A lot of the occasions, authority is local government, where they might enforce, for example, increase in minimum wages, which puts up costs for a business. It could be overseas. As I mentioned before, the AGOA agreements with America, or the World Trade Organization, or indeed the European Union. Any of these could affect a business locally because goods might not be exported, or if they are exported, the cost may increase substantially because of the country concerned. Insurance costs, historically, and probably across the world, rarely go down. And the more things that happen, such as terrorist attacks, the more the cost of insurance goes up. Again, affecting the profitability in the future of any business. Terrorism. Unfortunately, terrorism, as we know, has become part of the world in which we live in. Not something that we can remove easily. It does add to the cost positioning for businesses because they need to have security. They may lose sales because people won't come to those businesses. So you need to look at an industry to see how it is affected by potential terrorism. And finally, looking at ecology. We have moved into an environment-based situation where health issues have become very much to the fore, such as the problems with Ebola crisis in West Africa, which affected airlines flying into the country. We have realized that health issues are a major threat to some businesses. Climate has always been an ecological risk, because when we're looking at the climate, drought and flood for obvious reasons, the opposites can damage businesses and damage industry. Pollution is a major issue in certain economies. After the credit crunch in the world economies, people forgot about the climate issues, but now climate issues and pollution are becoming major parts of people's analysis. And anybody investing in a new business or running a business needs to look at the sustainability of that business to ensure it's not going to damage the local environment. So what Spectate does is it gives us a framework to analyse the environment surrounding an industry, a business that we are looking at. And that will have an effect on their suppliers, their buyers, and the business itself. This will ultimately have an effect on the future positioning of the business. So remember, we are always looking at what will affect future. What will affect future sales? What will affect future profitability? What will affect future buyers? Because remember, the ultimate risk is buyers. What will affect future costs? Very often, it's in Spectate. And Spectate is fluid. Spectate changes sometimes on a daily basis. Exchange rates, for example, in most countries of the world change daily. So there are a lot of risks that are constantly changing. Therefore, future analysis of a business and future running of a business needs people to understand the future effect of spectate. You'll be now moving in to do a quiz to see if you've been listening to me. Good luck with that. Thank you.